You're looking good, my friend.
I'm good. I'm down. We have a house in the Caribbean. We're down here now.
Awesome.
And, just hanging out and fixing the place up.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. I love seeing you live your good life, man. It's so deserving.
Yep, yep.
Yeah,
I
it's great.
agree. I agree.
When I got the press release, I was like, wow, this is something.
Yeah,
Reminded me of the Guitar Zeus stuff. So
exactly. And
yeah,
when the way it happened was the owner of Cleopatra Records, so I'm close to, is an old friend. And I've done a lot of stuff on his label and Cactus stuff on his label. And he came up to me with a crazy idea. He said, I want to do like an influences record that people who were influenced by Cactus. I said, wow. He says, you think that you can do that? So I'm thinking of Guitar Zeus. And I said, yeah, I could do that, you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
And then once he gave me the okay and a budget, I said, well, how the hell am I going to do this? Because with Guitar Zeus, I had me, Tony Franklin, and Kelly Keeling. We put all the songs together and then brought in the guitar players. So here I was in Florida where I live, and I have a studio there. I said, well, maybe I could start this with the drums, right? Which is an unusual way to record. So I
It-
did the first two songs with me and a click singing the stuff to myself and
oh
playing.
man, that's
And
tough. That had to be tough. Is that?
tough. And then I said, you
Yeah.
know what? There's got to be a better way to do this. So then I figured another way where instead of singing it to myself, I put a click down and I sang it on my system with my voice. So like I do
Yeah.
evil, I go, evil would be bam bam down lay down, 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 drum fill, down lay down, down, the
Uh,
vocal down the one way from home, down lay down.
all right,
So
right.
I did the whole song like that. And then I played to it, you know,
Wow.
and that was it. That's what did it. Because
Wow.
otherwise it'd be too difficult to keep playing 12 more songs
Yeah.
like that, you know.
Yeah, no
So,
doubt. No doubt.
so
Oh,
maybe one
that's
day
wow.
I'll release the drums and that
Yeah, yeah, that would be cool. I'd love to hear
some,
that.
something funny.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Well, fans
Yeah,
love that shit, you know.
yeah, I know. Maybe I don't know what we'd call it, but uh, Carmine sings Temple of Blues or something.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know what you
But it's
call it,
like
but
the,
anyway,
it's
yeah,
it's the scat version of
yeah. That's a good idea.
yeah,
But
yeah.
then we went on and I got all my friends on it. I got Nugent, I got Parchment Farm, I got Billy Sheen that told me at one point, anything you do to tribute to Tim, I'm there. So we did Parchment Farm. Then I said, well, I want to do Olio where Tim Bogert did the solo.
All right.
Can you do that? I said, no problem. So he did the solo. It sounds just like Tim.
Yeah,
You know,
you can
blew me
tell.
away. Now he loved him. I mean, he loved him. He was his main guy.
Yeah, and you
So
can tell, I think.
yeah, yeah,
Billy
yeah,
plays a lot like Tim. He
yep, he
plays it
does.
like a lead instrument, you know?
Yeah, yeah. So that I started gathering people, but first after I did the drums, I gave it to my singer Jim Stapley. He plays guitar, so he did basic guitar, vocal, and harmonica where it was, and we did that with all the tracks. And then I gave it to our bass player James Computo. He was with the band. He played the bass on stuff. So now I had a working demo. So now I would call people. I knew Billy would play Parchment Farm, so I said, "Okay, let's do that." And I'll get McCarty. Ask McCarty if he would play the rhythm and the leads through the verses because I wanted Joe Bonamassa to play the solo. Because I did Joe Bonamassa's podcast, and when I did it, we talked about Cactus. He said, "Man, when you guys did Parchment Farm, it blew my brains out." I said, "Well, funny you should say that. I'd like you to do the solo on a new version with Billy Sheen, McCarty, me, and a singer." And he said, "Yeah, I'm in."
Yeah.
So
And
doing it on his podcast, he had to do it.
I mean, another guy, that's obviously influenced by Cactus.
Yes, yes.
Joe
And I,
Bonamassa.
yeah, so
Crazy.
Panama. So then when I approached Ted, I said, "Ted, you want to do this?" He said, "I'm in." No, not even thinking. He loves Cactus. I mean, he's going to help me do some interviews too. because I'm getting bombarded, overload with this stuff, and I can't handle it myself, you know.
Well,
So I
that's a
just,
good thing. That's a good
yeah,
thing.
it is a good thing. It's a good thing. So Ted said, anything you want, here's have him contact my office, and we'll put it together. He's like a brother. I mean, I know him since 1967. We had the same manager for a while,
Right, right.
and
Yeah,
I jammed with him. I played with him. You
right,
know,
right. I
so
just
he's
saw
good.
him actually. I just saw him and Shemaine and the dogs, uh,
Where?
at a Patriots Fest here in Chicago, around Chicago. It was
Because he told me he was going to a rifle, was it the Rifle
uh,
Association? You
NRA
know,
thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
NRA, yeah, the NRA,
yeah,
some sort of convention or something.
yeah.
But he's a good guy. So when
Yep.
I asked him, didn't even hesitate. He said,
That's
I'm in. I go, well, what song do you want to play? I was able to say that at the beginning. What song do you want to play? He says, I want to do One Way or Another. I said, okay. I said, I'm thinking of getting Doug Pinnick to play bass and sing on that. So I know him and Ty were big Cactus fans.
yep.
So I called Doug and he said, yeah, I'm in. I said, well, Ted's going to be on the track. It's great. I said, you play bass and sing? He said, I'm cool.
Ah,
So, and the great thing is we just send out the stems, you know. The
yeah,
stems are like, you know what stems are, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
People don't know what stems are, how to explain to them what they are.
Yeah,
But, you know, so people that don't know, they're like the parts of the song, you know, drums, bass, keyboard, and whatever it is. So I sent Doug the stems. He put the vocal and the bass on it with my guitar player's part, and then we gave it to Ted, and he did his thing, you know. And
yeah,
now we're doing the video for that one. We already did the video for Evil that did really great with
yep,
Dee Snider singing it.
yeah,
And Dee Snider's another one. When I called him, I knew he'd do it because he had a band called Widowmaker, and one of my students that I
yep.
did back in the day, Joe Franco, played it. So after I told Joe that he's playing the wrong drum groove for the song, you know, I said, look, I want to get Dee on it. You think he'll do it? He goes, oh man, he loves Cactus.
Yeah.
So I called Dee. As soon as I said, I want you to sing Evil, he's no hesitation. I'm in.
That was perfect for him too.
Yeah, so perfect. And then I told McCarty I was going to get him. McCarty said, oh man, that guy from Twisted Sister, come on. I said, trust me, dude, he's going to be great.
Yeah,
So when I played
he's
it for
got a
McCarty,
voice.
he blew McCarty's mind. He said, he sounds like Rusty. I said, that's right.
Yeah,
Then we got Doug to play bass on that one and me, and that was it, you know. So we had the quartet. It was killer. And we did the video, and
great.
Dee was great on the video.
Of course.
You know, I mean, wasn't a little happy with my performance, you know, but now when I'm doing these things, I'm always thinking everything else that's going on in the you know in the groove and in the project, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So next one, this one we're doing with, I'm shooting mine on the 28th for One Way or Another, and I had to kick ass because Ted did his already, and he's like the wild man on that one.
Yeah.
So I got to be a little wild, and I told Doug to be a little wild too because he's playing bass and singing.
Yeah.
And both of them did such a great job. Ted changed the groove on it when the vocal started, and his vocal was so much more soulful.
Yeah.
You know, his
Yeah.
Doug is so soulful, man.
Oh, he is,
It's just he just lives it. You know, it's in him.
it
You know,
really is, man.
yeah.
I've heard, things he's done in the past, and still now today, he's still got it, man. I mean,
He still got it. The band's one of my favorite bands, King's X. Jerry, the drummer, fantastic drummer.
they're
We're
just so,
friends. I mean, I met them when we did a tour with Blue Murder and Billy Squire, and they
okay.
opened up for us. So when I went on their bus, they were playing Cactus.
Oh, look
And I
at
said, oh
that.
man, how about that? You know, I don't know if they did that specifically because they knew I was there.
I
But
doubt it. It's probably a regular in the
but
rotation.
they love Cactus. They told me they love Cactus. They knew all about Cactus and all the notes, all the songs. And they said, if you really listen close to our music, you hear a lot of Cactus in our music.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, thank you so much. And we became friends, you know. And unfortunately, I'm playing drums. But if I wasn't, I'd bring Gary in to play too. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. It's
because
great.
I had to have a couple of guys from Cactus on this thing, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah. It's
otherwise,
great.
it'd been Carmine Appice's Cactus. You know, I didn't want to do that.
Right.
So
Right.
that's why
Right.
we got McCarty on a couple of tracks, even though he doesn't tour with us anymore. We can
Right.
get him to record with us, you know.
And that
And
was great. I saw that. I saw,
yeah,
Jim's name and
yeah. McCarty, when I said Bonamassa, he loves Bonamassa. Bonamassa can do the solo. And he said, all right, make sure I'm as loud as Bonamassa doing the verse and the fills, because he's doing the fills throughout the verse, which he always did.
Right,
You know,
right.
so
Oh,
he was great, and
yeah.
and Doug Aldrich. You know,
Oh,
but Doug Aldrich was wild because I don't know if you know this, but the song that Van Halen put on their album called Eruption,
hmm.
that was the beginning of Cactus song Let Me Swim. They were big Cactus fans.
Yeah.
You know,
Wow.
Hot for Teacher, the Temple for Hot the Teacher was
Yeah,
Parchment
like
Farm.
Parchment Farm. Yeah, yeah.
So they, if you listen to the beginning of Let Me Swim on this new album, I extended it so it would sound like Eruption, just to
Oh,
prove a
that's cool.
point, right? So I said, I need somebody who can really smoke on that one. I called Doug Aldrich.
Doug is crazy.
And he said yes. And he did smoke on that beginning and all through the track. At the end, he's playing fills, you know, just great.
That guy.
And then he was a Cactus fan. And Malcolm Mendoza, who played with Whitesnake, I didn't know
Yeah,
he was a Cactus
yeah.
fan. He was
And
a
Blue
friend.
Murder, right?
That's why we, huh?
And Blue
Well,
Murder,
he
right?
played for a minute with Blue Murder,
Okay.
you know, but he played with Whitesnake. He played with
Oh
a few other bands like that. But I know him. He had a jazz trio in L.A. and they played every Tuesday at this jazz club. And he was a tremendous player,
yeah.
great singer. He sounded like Stevie Wonder when he sang.
Really?
And nobody uses him.
Marco?
Not vocals. Yeah, Marco. He's amazing.
Wow. Wow.
Not
Yeah,
the
I don't
not
know
the
that I've ever
Twisted,
heard him sing.
not the Twisted Sister guy. The other guy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
What?
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I didn't realize he was a fan until he did something at the beginning of Swim that Tim Bogert did. There's a little like doo doo doo, you know, on the high notes. It sounded silly when he did it, Tim, but he copied that. I called him. I said, "You played that thing like Tim." He goes, "Oh man, I love Cactus." I said, "Oh man, this is crazy." I
Yeah.
thought they were just my friends. So
Yeah.
I recalled it Influence and Friends at first, and then you know I found out like those guys were fans, and it was pretty amazing. But when it
Yeah.
was all pretty much done, you know, we did the cover. I said I wanted to be like Sergeant Pepper, and the art guy put all these Sergeant Pepper outfits on everybody. I said, no, no, not exactly like Sergeant Pepper. He said, like Sergeant Pepper, where everybody involved in the album was on the cover. So we had that done. We had the album almost done, and I'm talking to my buddies Foghat, you know,
Roger?
and his wife managed it, and they
Yeah.
said, yeah, we're number one on the blues charts, on Billboard blues charts. I'm thinking to myself, Foghat's number one. Then I saw Robin Trower was number one.
Yep.
I said, Cactus is the same stuff.
Oh,
It's always
yeah.
been a blues rock band. So
Oh, yeah.
I told him, Cleopatra, the owner, I said, you should market this as a blues album, you know, like Foghat, like Robin Trower, and they're getting
Yeah.
noticed on the Billboard charts, which, you know, if you get noticed on the Billboard charts, maybe you'll get a nomination for a blues or a nomination for a blues, you know, combination of all these people
Yeah.
or artwork or something, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So I told him, I said, that's a great idea. He said, why don't we change it to Temple of Blues? I said,
Okay. There we go.
good idea, you
Yeah.
know, and then we can put the Influence and Friends too. He
Yeah.
said, yeah. And then that changed the whole album cover change, the artwork. You know, we changed it all. Now it's in the temple. I don't know if you
Uh,
saw all the artwork.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
temple, you know, everywhere you look, you open up the credits, it's in the temple.
It's cool.
Killer. You know,
Yeah.
so
It is.
it was gradually building to what it ended up being.
Man, that's great. And you know, market that thing as blues, man. I mean, you got a lot of great blues songs.
Yeah,
You know, it's blues rock, and you got, you know, the best of the blues guys, Joe Bonamassa there, and you know,
yeah.
I mean, that's no doubt, no
And
doubt.
Warren Haynes, when we gave him the blues, no need to worry. You know, I cut the drums to that. I mean, that was difficult because it's
Yeah,
so slow. You know, when
right.
I did that click thing and I sung it. You know, and then I gave it to Jorgen Carlson, who at the time was still in Government Mule. He's not anymore. But when I gave it to him, he played his. He said, "I'm going to play it so I know the way Warren going to want to play and where he's going to build up and take it down and all that." So he followed the drums and did that. And then when Warren did his, he played and sang at the same time.
Yeah.
He'd sing something with his mouth and then, you know, the guitar, and then he'd do stuff together with the vocal and the guitar. And the only way you can do that is if you do it like live, you can do it, but you have to do it live in the studio. And that's
Right,
what he did.
man.
So
I
it
love
was
that.
when I heard it, I said, "Oh, this is fantastic." I called him, I texted him, I said, "Man, thank you so much. You did unbelievable job." You know,
There is something about
Hendrix
that.
fan, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, yeah, it's great, man. I mean, there's something about that, doing that kind of thing live in the studio
Yeah,
instead
totally.
of doing it, so sterile the other way.
You
This is that,
I mean,
you know,
considering the way we did this album, starting with the drums, it doesn't sound like that. It sounds like
right.
we all played together.
Yeah, yeah, it's great.
It's even when I play with a click, I don't play right on the click. I play a little
Okay,
behind the click, so it sounds natural. You
okay.
know, I don't know
That's
how I do it, but that's natural the way I do it. You
yeah.
know,
I
I
don't
don't.
think that's what most people do. I think most people play exactly to the click.
Yeah, exactly.
I
And
would
I
think,
don't do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And I learned to do that a little bit with Rod Stewart because I'd always
It's an
play right
English blues thing, like, isn't it? Isn't that an English thing?
first. When I played with BBA, I was right on. With Cactus, I was right on. You
Right,
know,
right, right.
we always did everything live, so it was all together. That BBA box set that came out a few months ago. When I
Mhm.
listened to it, I said, "Oh my God, this has so much energy." I'm like, it's like fire. It's falling off the vinyl. So
Yeah,
much energy, you
yeah.
know. And then when I learned to play, when I play with Rod, I play, and he said, "Man, pull it back a little bit, make it lazy, pull it back a little bit." And I started doing. I used to flam it in my head. The flam is
Okay.
two sticks hit the
Right, right, right.
and blah. I'd slam it in my head with my right hand, and the left hand would come a little late, and that gave it that that feel. And then I learned to do that naturally, and
Wow.
that's how I play now. I can't play on the beat like that anymore.
Yeah, see, that's wild. And it's inherently an English thing, I think.
It
It seems that way. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. You're like me, you're somewhere over 50 now. Uh,
Way
uh,
over.
um, what your style of play is taxing for a 20-year-old. What's the fitness like for you? How do you stay in shape, man? And you're
Well, there's
just,
certain things I can't do like I did when I was in my 20s, like a
yeah,
fast brrr around the drums,
yeah,
because I'm older,
yeah.
7 years old. The muscles don't do that no. I mean, all my muscles are gone. I don't know where they went. But I do, like my wife took a picture of my practice pad and a drum book. We were in the Caribbean. She took a picture of a beautiful, view from the window of the ocean, and then a picture of me and my sticks and my drum pad.
Yeah,
Everybody laughed at it,
yeah,
and
that's
it's on my Facebook too, and and my relatives are going, "Yep, that's him." You know, like every day, for the last few months, I've been practicing on my drum pad because so I noticed some of the speed slowing down. So I'm just practicing to exercise my hands so I don't lose that. Plus, I've got like this arthritis thing going here. My right hand, I play like this with a stick. So I've been
okay.
playing like this with my left hand, so the thumb won't be involved. So I've been going through all this book like I did. I used to play traditional, and I
Right.
went through this drum book that's called Stick Control, where I ended up playing two hands like this, you
Okay.
know. And now I'm doing two hands like this, So in case this gets really bad, I can still play this way.
Right.
I've
That's
been
such a big
practicing every day.
adjustment.
I do a half 30 minutes on that, and then I 30 minutes on the treadmill. Well, no, 15 minutes on the treadmill. Then I do some weights, and then I do sit-ups and all that stuff. Usually takes about 30, 40 minutes. I do the exercise thing on the treadmill every other day, and I do the sticks every day. And
Man.
I got the Apple Watch, and it tells me how many calories and my heart rate and all that stuff.
Yep.
And sometimes through that workout, I get 121, 100, 125, beats per minute, and I eat good. I
Yep.
don't eat a lot of junk food. I mean, I'm trying to watch my sugar, because
Right.
I don't want to be on that, diabetes pill.
Yep.
My
Yep.
sugar goes up and down like this, but I try and stay healthy.
You look great, man, and it sounds great. Yeah, it's crazy. You put the work in, and
I
it
do. And
shows.
when I look at myself like on the Ed Sullivan Show in 1967, that's
Yeah,
when I was a real freaking animal. You know, beat the living crap out of the drums. And I look at myself now, I don't do that now. I learned, instead of going all the way up here, I learned to crack it like a karate chop to
Right.
get down. And I play with the butt end of my sticks, which makes it a
Yeah.
thicker sound.
Right.
And, it's,
You
and
got
those
to
days
adjust.
from Fudge to Cactus to BBA and beyond a little bit, even with the 80s with King Cobra and Blue Murder, I was a bit of an animal.
Yeah.
As you
I'd
get
say.
older, start hitting 67, 70,
Yeah.
it tends to calm down a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. I saw a drum clinic from Todd Sucherman, and great drummer. He
Yeah.
said when he was younger, he had his cymbals extremely high up, so he was doing this, and as he got older, they lowered.
I had my chinas up here, and I would go like that, like that.
Right.
Had the cuff surgeries.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, took one down. It's got one on the right low,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But he hasn't even been doing it as long as I have.
No,
You know,
no. That.
we went to my clinics.
There you go.
I was the very first rock musician to do a clinic in
Yeah.
1971.
And the book. I mean, you wrote the book.
I wrote the
Uh,
book.
I mean,
The
that.
guy says I wrote the Bible.
Yes, that
You
has been
know,
around for a long time and it still
still
sells, doesn't it?
1972 and still going.
It's crazy. I
When I wrote that book, you know what? I didn't even have a clue. I was with Cactus. Every night we would party. We'd wreck hotels.
uh,
Chicks, party with chicks and party, with different bands. Like we're on the road with the Faces. We wreck hotels, wreck each other's rental cars. I mean, and then when I left, I said to the manager, "Where's the money?" He goes, "Well, remember all those hotels and cars you wrecked?
right.
We thought
Yeah,
we didn't pay for it, but we did." But anyway, so I went into the Sam Ash music stores, which is soon to be gone, you know,
right.
and I took a drum book by this guy, Joel Rothman. And my friend Joe Morello, great jazz drummer, said Joel Rothman had diarrhea of the pen because he had all books, mediocre books,
Right.
So I saw one guy, in 1971, we all had long hair and, beards and, like straggly clothes and T-shirts, tie-dye T-shirts, and, crosses made of turquoise. And I walk in the rings, I still wear the rings and stuff, but
Yeah.
I picked up this book. It said, Learn to play rock drums. I had a guy that had an Elvis Presley haircut, kind of like mine is now, but pulled down with the dip.
Right, right. Yeah.
He's like here going, holding it like this, you know, learn to play rock drums. I looked at the material. I said, oh man, this is crap. I said, I'm going to write a book. There was a book called Chapin's Independence book. It was written on 3 lines. It had cymbal, snare drum, and bass drum. Real
Yeah.
clear, even to see. I said, I'm going to write a book. I said, I'm going to write it like that. So every night, instead of wrecking hotels for an hour or two, I'd sit in a hotel and I'd write the book. And I wrote the
Wow.
book and I said, I want this book to be for a guy that wants to play drums, don't know how to play, that he could read this book. By the end of the book, he'd be able to play with the band. That was the idea.
Right.
So I gave it to my lawyer. He said, I got the book, a deal. It's $500 advance back in 1971,
That's
which is
significant.
probably $5,000 now.
Right.
Great. He said, but the good thing is you own the copyright. I didn't even know what that meant.
Right, right.
I didn't know what that meant. I went from one deal to another. He got the second deal. And then I went to LA and then I knew what it meant because I started getting money, big money for
Oh,
the book because it was selling. I
yeah,
mean, the first year it sold 3,000 copies. Joe Morello said, that is huge.
yeah.
I said, it is. I was used to selling, three, 400,000, 500,000 records, not
Right.
1,000 books. He said, it's huge. And over, a period of time since it's out, I did 480,000 books, which is still
Unbelievable.
huge. You know, I
It's
got a deal like in the beginning of the 2000s with Alfred Publishing for a 10-year deal it was. I got an advance every January. It was the biggest drum book advance that anyone ever had. You
look at
know,
that. That's
and then
awesome.
yeah, and now it's slowed down because of the internet. You
Well,
know,
right, right.
yeah,
Yeah,
there's no clinics anymore. You know, That's when the
Yeah.
top, the one you went to must have been a while ago.
Yeah, it was. It was. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's no clinics anymore. I mean, I used to have clinics that they book a store, book a clinic. They have to buy a certain amount of books, get a fee for the clinic.
Yep.
Ludwig Drum Company or the drum company will pay for it. And when I do a new deal with a drum company, they guarantee 30 clinics a year.
Yeah.
You
See,
know,
that's
so
the way it
guarantee
needs to be.
X amount of books. That's why my
Yeah.
book was always sold. But
Yeah.
you know what? I met big guys that went through my book, like Andrew Dice Clay,
Yeah.
you know,
Wow.
who Chad Wackerman, not
Oh,
Chad,
yeah.
Dave Weckl,
Okay.
Greg
Yeah.
Bissonette, you
Wow.
know. And
Okay.
I gave a book one time when I was with Rod to Fred Astaire.
Yeah. Yeah. It's in the book, right? It's in your
Yeah,
autobiography.
you read my
Oh
other book?
yeah. 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 Yeah.
He gave me a
I
letter.
I love that.
I got it in my studio framed.
Awesome.
And I got that, like I said in the book. How about that? A kid from Brooklyn gets a letter from, Hollywood royalty. You
Yes.
know, for me,
Yes.
it was great.
Oh,
You know,
that's incredible.
and
And Buddy Rich.
I've been
Uh,
blessed, and Buddy Rich was my friend.
yeah, and he didn't like rock draw. He didn't like much of anybody, from what I understood. He
Oh,
was a
but
difficult
that was just
guy.
a cover. That was just like a cover. That was
Okay.
his persona, projecting his persona.
All
You
right.
know, people
Yeah.
talk about it, but when you got to know him, he was a wonderful guy.
Yeah.
You know,
That's awesome.
especially that Muppet story in there. He did the
Yeah.
Muppet when it was my idea to do.
Right.
I said, that was my idea. He goes, well, they wanted the best. I started, you mother. We were friends. We used to go out to his house. I went to a few parties with him, and he did my drum off, and that, yeah.
Yeah.
But look, like I said, knock on the wood. Where's the wood? I had a blessed career.
And
You
it's,
know,
I'm reading the book,
I
and
mean, look, I'm not playing big arenas anymore, but you know what? I'm still playing. I'm still
yeah.
playing theaters,
Yep.
and I got a wonderful house in Florida, amazing house in Florida with a studio. This is our house down here. We rent this house. We come down here every 3 months to make sure it's still here, you
Man,
know.
that's
And I used to, my old manager was a mafia guy and told me when you make money, buy real estate.
yeah.
People have to live somewhere. And I listened to him. I just sold all my properties
Yeah.
that I had, and I listened to him, and he was right.
Yeah.
You know, I
That's
have a blessed life. My wife, Leslie Gold, used to be on the radio in New York,
hmm
and
yeah.
we have a great life. My kids are in LA still. They both do well. My daughter does special effects makeup. She does big movies and commercials and everything
Oh,
else. My son's a interventional radiology tech. He's getting married in 3 weeks, so we're going to go out to his wedding.
oh, nice,
And
nice.
and I'm
Congrats.
between me, I play with Vanilla Fudge, Cactus, and I have a rod show, called the
Yeah.
Tonight's the Night, a true Rod experience. Because the guy I got playing Rod is exactly like Rod. He's better than Rod is today. You know, is Rod 79 years old? Come on, that's just like,
Yeah.
there's guys like me. These young kids are better than I am at doing what I do. You know,
It's
but like they say to me, "Who's better, you and your brother?" I go, "I'm the original."
right. Yeah, and Vinny, so you got to
He's
be
great.
so proud,
Very proud of him
you
because
just
I didn't help him. Matter of
yeah.
fact, the first gig he got was Rick Derringer, the big gig. I mean, he had played with John Lennon in the studio, and he, he never really played with a big band anywhere. So one day, Rick Derringer called my house. He lives with my mother. So he gets my mother on the phone. He goes, "Hi, is Vinny there?" I says, "Rick Derringer." He goes, "Oh, no, you wanted Carmine." So Rick goes, "Oh, for Vinny." He goes, "No, no, you must be calling for getting them mixed up. You must be calling for Carmine." He goes, "This is Appice," they call his name. "I know Carmine, and I know Vinny, and I'm calling for Vinny." So then she went and got Vinny. So Derringer Band started with Kenny Aronson, Rick Derringer, Danny Johnson, Derringer. They toured with Aerosmith.
Yep.
He was 17 years old. Just
That's
got out of school.
crazy.
Never college. in May. But ever since then, he went to electronic school because he got out of the business for a couple of years and became uh, an electronics guy where he worked for Verizon for support. You
Okay.
call it Verizon support and you get Vinny. It's funny,
Yeah.
right?
It's wild. Yeah.
Got back into it, and my studio has a system. Vinny built a computer. He got everything I needed to start my own studio, the screen, the Focusrite, everything.
Uh,
He set it up in his house, got it all together, passwords and everything, and sent it to me. I just set it up in my studio, and he showed me how to use it. So
awesome.
that's how I learned to be my own engineer. And
That's
I'm recording
great.
all my stuff there. So
Wow.
we're not like brothers that fight.
Yeah.
We did that Sinister album. We had the album cover with the speeches down the middle,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
one half was me. It was
Right.
a cute album cover, you
It's
know.
it's
Yeah,
really cool. I love to see you guys together.
yeah.
That's why hanging and banging and stuff was so much fun.
Different. It's pretty different because we put the drums in the front, and the
Yeah.
guitar in the back, the guitar and the bass player on a riser behind us, and the singer's right in the middle. In the front.
It's
It's a
great.
unique. We did a little bit of everybody's song. My brother Vinny's doing that now. It's called Black Sabbath Nights,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing the Rod Show, and he's doing Black Sabbath Nights, and it's everybody who in the Drum Wars band except me. Right? So they're doing the same, adding more songs to it, but they're doing the same songs we did. So
Yeah.
it's great. I went to see Rod Stewart like a couple of years ago, and I'm watching him. He did like 12 songs, and 8 of the songs he did were songs I was involved in. And I said to
Right.
myself, look at the audience loving this, and I never get to play these songs.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
put together my own little Rod experience band. It didn't work out, you know. I
Yeah.
used guys that were from Florida. They were inexperienced. And
Right.
then I went to see this other guy who's been around, and he has a sax player that played with Rod for 14 years. This chick named Cactus. She's still, blonde, good looking, sexy, and
Right.
she played great. And she asked me to help this guy to get some European shows. So I turned him on to a couple of agents, so we were in touch.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was so we were in competition. So when mine broke up, I told him that didn't work out. He said, "Look, I'm playing not far from you in Florida. Why don't you come and check it out?" So I came and checked them out. I went on and played with them, no rehearsal, and the audience went crazy. And I
Wow.
just
With no rehearsal.
no rehearsal. We did Hot Legs, Young Turks, Passion, You're in My Heart, Tonight's the Night,
Yeah.
uh, Maggie May, Do You Think I'm Sexy? And You Keep Me Hanging On like Rod did.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah. Man.
after
That's
that show, I said, you know what? We should be partners. I said, yes, we should. So now, if you look at my website, I got all these gigs with them. I got gigs with Cactus, gigs with Vanilla Fudge. I mean, I'm busy.
yeah. It's great, man. I see that. It's so good to see, man.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I mean, I'm the only one left of those of the drummers I
Right.
consider the influential drummers, like Ginger Baker, Mitch Mitchell,
Yeah.
um, Keith Moon,
Yeah.
and the guy that I looked up to, Dino Dinelli.
Yeah. The
You know,
Rascals. Yeah.
for me, those were before all the second generation, which I consider second was Bonzo, Ian Pace,
Yeah. Yeah.
all of that generation, which is 2 or 3 years after us,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and I'm the only one left from that crew.
Yeah.
Everyone else is gone.
Dino Danelli, that's a great name to throw out there. Just talked to Felix.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and
I played with them for 2 years.
yeah, that's
It
just
was,
so cool,
they brought Gene back, and Dino didn't want to do it. I
right?
did, and then little Steven got pissed off at me for doing it
Yeah,
because he was managing the band before this, and then it split up, and he was managing Dino and Eddie. I said, "Come on, dude, I love the Rascals. Why wouldn't I do it?"
yeah,
Because Dino, what do you think of Dino feel? Dino didn't want to do it.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
did it. And I loved it because I was playing all those songs I loved, and singing the backgrounds with my friend Benny was the keyboard player, second keyboard player. And I love Felix.
Yeah,
I was on the stage when Gene had his heart attack or whatever he had.
oh wow,
And my roadie saved his life. He went and got a defibrillator, and it kept hitting him until the paramedics got there. And if he didn't do that, he would have been dead now.
wow, Wow.
So
And
my tech, he's still with me, but my brother stole them a lot.
uh,
You know,
I mean, yeah, he's still there,
I,
still doing
I need Shaggy's nickname. I need Shaggy. I said, well, come on, man. You know, you stealing my roadie now? You
it.
know, so,
Uh,
but it's been great. I mean,
I mean, I'm reading the book. There's nobody you haven't played with, and or have contact with. Like,
yeah,
opening shows, you have a young Bruce Springsteen open shows for you.
yeah, right. Yeah,
I mean, Zeppelin open shows for Vanilla Fudge.
yeah. I
Uh,
mean, we had every Three Dog Night. We had Frank Zappa. We had
yeah,
so many people. Alice Cooper. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
everybody opened up for Vanilla Fudge. And then with Cactus, we had the same thing. We had a lot of new bands open up for Cactus. Humble Pie
yeah,
opened up for us, and lots of others. I can't even remember them all. But it's a great thing. We used to hang out with Jimi Hendrix. He was our friend.
yeah,
Cactus. I knew him before he was Jimi Hendrix. I used to play clubs in New York, and he was. Yeah, it's in the book. He was Jimmy James and the Blue Flames,
yeah.
and he would smoke pot together and a black prostitute's apartment, which is now Upper West Side. It's very wealthy up there.
All right.
There
Wow.
was, there was like Panic in Needle Park, that movie with Al Pacino back
Yeah,
in the 70s. And this was in the 60s, 10 years before that movie. And he talk about smoking pot, talk about making it. And I didn't know anything about making it. I just want to make a living
right.
playing like my drum teacher, and next thing after that, a couple of years go by, I see the guy playing with his teeth. I go, man, Jimi Hendrix, that's Jimmy James. Then we went to London. We're in this place we played, the Speakeasy, where everybody played. And I meet him in the restaurant. And I said, yeah, remember me? I was in Thursday's Children with Dean Parrish. He says, yeah, Dean Parrish. He said, what are you doing here? I said, I'm a Vanilla Fudge. He goes, oh, man, I love the fudge. And I said, wow, that was cool. And then we did shows with him, many shows with him. Cactus, we did many shows with him. We did many shows with Cactus with the Faces,
Yeah.
Uriah Heep, Badfinger, all
Just
these people.
just on.
It was before it was a business, you
Right.
know.
Right. You were enjoying the art of
We used to
making.
fly everywhere. There was no security on the planes. We used to walk right into the plane. A couple of times we were late for the plane. We leave the rent a car on the ramp. We run in. They just shut the door on the plane. We bang on the door, let us in. You
Yeah, it
know,
don't work like that anymore.
oh, with Hendrix, we had three bands, four bands, whatever it was. I had all the amps and drums and everything. The truck would back up to the belly of the plane and take off all the gear.
Wow.
And when we go back, we give the sky cap like 100 bucks
Uh,
and make sure the truck pull up to the belly of the plane, put all the gear on the truck. It was unbelievable. Then we
That's
landed
great.
in the next place and off the bus, in the truck, right to the gig. The roadies would set it up. There was no driving, no buses,
Yeah,
no private planes. You
man,
know, it was
just us.
first time I ever took a bus was 1983 with Ozzy. That was my first bus trip.
Okay. Wow.
That
Wow.
was flying limos.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy, crazy. Now,
So
I love the way you start the book with Sharon. That kind of summed up that whole thing.
it
Uh,
did.
but you in the book you mentioned falling out with Tim Bogert,
Yeah.
falling out with Jeff. He's screwing you over.
He
You
fell out with Jeff.
yeah,
You know,
right.
I stayed on. I was with him doing the whole time doing blow by blow. I was on blow by blow, as you know.
Right, right.
But we couldn't work out a deal, so they took me and replaced me. But I got screwed out of my writing. I don't think it was Jeff. Jeff didn't do the business. The managers did the business,
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so I
But
said,
you,
okay. I was bummed out that I couldn't have sold too many copies, and then I would have been on tour with him. But is that a cat on your lap?
it is.
It is. I see a tail there. I was going, you got a tail. But then I realized lately that if I would have been with Jeff on that tour and everything, I never would have been with Rod.
Right, right.
Rod really took my career way up,
Yeah.
way up. So let's work out for the best.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned even a little bit of a fallout with Rod, but you always maintained friendships,
Yeah.
and you always, you would work together after that, and let bygones be
I
bygones.
did this in my book.
Yeah, it's really, but the one like you start with Sharon's story, and Ozzy, it's not Ozzy, it's Sharon. We all know that.
Yeah, yeah,
But if Ozzy calls you today and says, Carmine, I love you. I want you to play drums on my next record.
no
Uh,
problem.
yeah. See, that's
Uh,
even with Sharon doing the business part of it.
Whatever, I don't hold grudges,
Yeah, it's a
In
beautiful
this
thing. It,
in
it
this
really
business,
is.
hold grudges, you're out of business.
Yeah.
you know?
It's a beautiful thing. I love the way you handled that. It was really it felt great when I was reading that
Yeah. I mean, when it was happening, it was like, are you kidding me? She cut the heads off my merch, my t-shirts.
right,
My road come up and told me this. The guy who was with me was my guy, And then when that riser didn't work,
right,
and I
right.
said, "Would she do this?" And Bob said, "Definitely."
Yeah,
I said, "Wow." I
yeah.
was blown. My mind was blown that she would, you know, do
She's
that to
rough.
a show.
She's rough, and they did the Bob Daisley. I know Bob's on the record,
Yeah.
but she redid the albums without him, so she wouldn't have to pay him. It's
But still, I mean, that first album
rough.
was called Blizzard of Oz. It didn't say Ozzy Osbourne.
Yep.
Second album, I believe, is the same. Maybe they changed it by then. But the first album was Blizzard of Oz.
Yeah.
And I know Bob real well. He's on this album.
Hmm.
And he told me it was supposed to be a band,
Yep.
like Cactus, four-way split, like Vanilla Fudge, four-way split, like Led Zeppelin. The name of the band was Blizzard of Oz. They put the Oz in there because he was
Well,
the
yeah.
biggest name, but it's still the four. These guys are from Uriah Heep, and Bob plays with some big bands. And
Yeah.
Randy was Randy.
Right.
Just be a
Right.
band. It's terrible.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, it was, and the way that was handled was just wow. I mean, just vicious. Wow. Yeah, she can be rough. And I think she gets it from her dad. Uh,
Yeah, right. And she got a kick out of firing me. She said, "You need your own band. Your
yeah,
name is too big." She told me that.
yeah.
And shaking her head like that. Like I felt like punching her in the face.
Like Ozzy had before.
King Kobra. So yeah, it came out. They did okay in its day. Not as big as the ones I wanted, like 5 million units. You
Right,
know.
right, right. You mentioned the Rascals and Felix and Vinny comes to mind. Vinny Cusano.
Vinny?
You know,
Oh no.
yeah. Well, you did Carmine and the Rockers, right? With
Yeah,
Vinny,
I did with
and
him.
it was rumored like in 2019 that you might be working together doing
Yeah,
something, but it never
yeah.
happened.
Well,
Um,
the promoter is still my friend. You know. But me, him, Tony Franklin, and
yeah,
we work with Vinny works with now with Black Sabbath Nights, and we had the drum wars. He was going to sing, and we
right.
were ready. The promoter gave me and Tony and everybody a deposit, and then Vinny just screwed him. You know,
Oh,
when I joined Kiss, I got a call from I think it's in the book. I got a call from Gene and Paul asking me about Vinny. I said, dude, he was trouble for me.
yeah,
Trouble for me. I don't know about you, but I just want to tell you, it's trouble. So, and sure enough, what happened?
yeah,
Now, he's a great talent. I mean,
incredible.
great guitar player, great songwriter.
Yeah,
But some of these guys are the great talents. They don't know what's going on.
yeah, yeah. And it was cool to discover Felix.
Yeah.
Because I love Felix. Doing a record with him, I didn't realize that.
Yes, that was before
Yeah.
he was with me.
Okay. Yeah.
He'd
That's
been the guy that had been floating around.
uh,
What's really funny? You know how he looks today, right?
yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah.
she, whatever you want to do.
I don't
Well,
know what's going on there, but yeah,
I was with Rod, and we used to use eye makeup. I still use a little on the eyes because it looks good from the stage,
Right.
you know. But I put mine on. Everybody put theirs on, and Vinny would be forever, fixing up perfect. So I used to go, "Come on, Vinny girl, let's go." So I was
Okay.
just talking. This guy Cyril, we call Zero, who was the bass player. I was just talking to him, not long ago, and he said, "I got to laugh at when you used to call Vinny Vinny girl." Because he knew him for longer than all of us. He knew him from Connecticut when they all lived out there.
Okay.
Before he played with Felix, before he played with anybody.
All
And
right.
he said, I got a kick out of him. I laugh now and looking at the way he looks now when you used to call him Vinny Girl.
Yep.
I said,
Yep.
I got to laugh at that too.
Yep. Yep. He took that to heart, I guess.
Yeah, he
Uh,
really,
you know, I hear so much of your playing, and you have a style, but it can change so much. You'll do Ozzy, and then you do Rod Stewart, which is drastically
yeah,
different, which is different than Cactus.
yeah.
Um, it's just the adaptability is just awesome.
Yeah, well, what happens when I do something like that is I take my style and adapt into their style. Like Rod Stewart, when I played with Rod, he just added the faces, and he was still kind of like Cactus. The last Cactus album, Hot and Sweaty,
Yeah.
was there for Rod and the Faces because we toured with them.
Okay.
So I was going in that direction anyway. So for me, it was just doing less drum fills. Even though when I played with Rod, he pointed to his teeth. And I go, "What is that?" He says, "When I do this, this means the dentist, less drum fills, fillers, you know."
Right.
But I did adapt to Rod's style, like Hot Legs is my style, Born Loose. There's a bunch of stuff on that first album that was my album, my style.
Yeah.
And the second album too. So I can play pretty much anything.
Yeah.
I go
Seriously.
everything. I
Yeah.
played weddings. I played all kinds of Latin stuff. I played waltzes. I played whatever. I mean,
It's
on the
great.
Cactus, there was a song called Alaska. I played with brushes.
Yeah.
Even the new one.
Yeah.
I played with brushes. So I pretty much played all kinds of styles and music. So that is in me. So and I just adapt it when I need it to,
Yeah.
to certain things. And
It's
then
feeling that song, feeling the emotion.
yeah,
You nail it. Yeah, for
like
sure.
Rascals, which is totally different. But they were more like the R&B of me.
Yeah.
That was R&B vibe.
Yeah. What would you say, like, if somebody who's never heard you, and I could play something for them to, like, explain your style? Is there a piece of music that you've played, recorded, that kind of sums up who you are as a drummer? Can
You
you?
keep me hanging on.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's
That was,
that's going all the way back.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what started it. The big drum sound.
Yeah.
We did it with Rod. When Rod came up to me and said, "Man, I love the way you guys did that. I would have loved to have done that."
Yeah.
I said, well, "Let's do it. I'm in the band. It's a good excuse."
Yeah.
So we did it. And
Yeah.
when it opens up and we have this, it does the big intro, and then it goes, "Ba-dum," and it's just a rhythm guitar chords, picking chord, and him set me free. It was like
Yeah.
kills. You know,
It's great, man. It's
it was
great.
amazing. It was amazing.
Pretty cool. It's still lady for me. I just, I don't think anybody else can play that. And, I know people, it's on there. The way you play that song, it's amazing to me.
You
And
talking
you're
about you keep
singing.
hanging on?
No, lady,
Oh, lady. Oh,
the,
yeah.
the, the Beck Bogert a
Yeah,
piece.
yeah. That's
That's
why no bands play that song.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that whole thing is that sums it up for me when I think about
Yeah.
you. That song, with
Amazing playing on three of us.
wow, yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's
Have
crazy.
you heard the live record with the 50th anniversary box set?
No, I have to
Oh,
get
you got to
that.
get Lady on that, boy. That thing is like over the top with energy. It's just on fire. It's just the last time you ever heard Jeff Beck play like that.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
never did ever again. You
yeah.
know.
So sad. What a
Yeah, and ridiculous. So we were putting that box set together when he passed, and
um,
me, my manager Bruce was he wrote all the booklet, 10,000 words of the booklet, and we had given that and something else to Jeff's manager on a Sunday, waiting to hear back to them on like Monday, Tuesday. So on Wednesday we never heard back from him. Then we heard Jeff passed away,
yeah,
and we went, oh my God, no wonder we didn't hear from him.
yeah. That's
And then
brutal.
finally, so we were working with him continually to get it out, and it was terrible. It was terrible. I mean, even though I didn't talk to Jeff a lot, the last time I talked to him was about there was playing on it. He said, "Man, that playing is outrageous. It was fantastic, and it was humorous playing." I said, "What do you mean by that?" He goes, "Well, I'd do something stupid, and Tim would ask me something stupid, and you would kind of answer, but keep it all together." And it was humorous. I said, "Yeah, I guess you're right. Listen to it. There's a bunch of stupid stuff on it. There's all live, you
Yeah,
know."
yeah.
And
I love that. I mean, I love that
I did
organic
a,
thing.
I did a drum solo in there. It was ridiculous.
Yeah,
I can't do one like that now.
it's crazy.
Fast roll. I mean, I
Yeah.
had the muscles to do it. Now the muscles are, 77 years old. But,
Insane. Well,
I, all the good stuff that made me what I am today is behind me. But I'm still doing the stuff
yeah,
that, I
it's
mean, I listen to this album now, the Cactus record, one way or another. I have to listen to the drum fills. So I'm going to do the video so I know what I'm playing. I never play anything twice.
yeah.
My drum fills are not planned. I
Oh
just play
boy.
it. Every time I do a video, I got to sit with thing and write the fill down, write it out.
Right,
An idea of what I'm doing. I put it over to the left,
right,
and I have a chair down here and I look at it. And then we do one pass just with the drum fill so they can put it in where they want.
right, right, right.
A lot of guys, they do exactly what they do on the record. They do exactly that live. They do exactly that on the video. That's part of the song.
Yeah,
I never played like that. I was played from the heart.
yeah, yeah. And I love that. I love that. Now, I mean, we're talking about Jeff Beck when we're talking about Hendrix and all these great players, David Gilmour and Joe Bonamassa on this record, and Marty Friedman, and so there's all these great players that
Oh, I forgot about Marty Freeman. Yeah.
he's just brilliant. I mean, these guys are virtuoso type of players.
I,
Uh,
I think about some of the albums. I also forget Ronnie Wood's album. I played on his album.
yeah,
I played Eric Carmen's album, Eddie Money's album. It's like when Eric Carmen died, I took him on tour in Japan in 1982. It was
uh,
me, Tom Peterson,
oh,
Cheap Trick,
Cheap Trick, yeah.
yeah, Rick Derringer, and Eric Carmen. It was called the Carmine Appice Super Session Volume 1. We played the Budokan, played a bunch of stuff. It's right after I was at Rod, and I had my solo album out.
Just
And
great.
when he died, I said, "Oh man, I remember when I played with him."
That
I'm
little,
selling drums on Don Bennett's vault, because I had so much stuff in the locker in L.A. I said, "Well, I'm never going to use it. The drums aren't meant to be sitting in a dark locker."
right,
I
right.
got a drum set that was 4 bass drums. It was hand painted purple leopard. I never even played them. You open up the case, it smells like paint. Right? A full drum set, and Slingerland made them. It's the last drum set that Slingerland made until they closed the factory,
Wow.
right? And they used to have a snare drum and there's Radio King. They're very expensive. I got the whole drum kit Radio King. So this drum set is worth whatever somebody wants to pay for it. But I'm going to give it to this guy to sell because it's sitting in there
Yeah,
doing nothing.
yeah.
I got a couple other sets and extra hardware and extra accessories. So he's been selling my stuff. I got cymbals. I don't even know how many cymbals I got.
Okay.
So I'm going to go and do an inventory when I go to LA for my son's wedding. When I go do an inventory, he's sitting on the truck, and he's going to take a lot of the stuff up there because
Yeah.
I even have the King Kobra set that we used to put the amps in, 8 set in there. I use it as shelves,
Wow.
$20,000. $100 for those things.
Unbelievable. That's just so cool. Yeah, for the fan, I mean, that is
Yeah, yeah. Somebody
tremendous.
wants a stage set, they can have it.
It's
I got
tremendous.
giant pictures of me and Johnny Rod in black and
Wow,
white. I don't know how big they are, 10 feet by 5 feet in there.
unbelievable. I just think it's so great that you have that. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
but what you going to do with it? I mean, when I'm gone from this world, what are you going to do with it? You need somebody. I said, my kids and my wife are going to be stuck with all this stuff, so let me try and get rid of it now.
man, oh man, yeah, that's just well, there's got to be a museum, a Hall of Fame for
Well,
sure.
there is a Long Island Hall of Fame, which I got stuff. I got the jacket I wore on the Ed Sullivan show in there.
Oh, that's just awesome. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
way cool.
I mean, to ship stuff from LA to there, if it ain't going to be worth it. They
Right,
got the original drum set that I had that John Bonham saw, and I got him the same drum set. But one of the bass drums
right.
got missing, but they have the rest of it there.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah,
Awesome. Like I said, we talk about all these great guitar players that you play with, but in the book and every list that's ever made, Hendrix is always the number one on the top of the list.
yeah.
You say in the book that there'll never be another Hendrix, really.
Yeah.
What is it about? What was the magic that Jimmy had that always lands him on the top of the list?
Well, when he came out, he was different than everybody else. He was a black guy that had the hair. So like the Beatles had the hair, he
Yeah,
had the hair that started that fad. You know, even
yeah,
guys like Vinnie Martell from Fudge, he went electric, made a perm in his hair, so went like that a little bit. So
right,
there's white people doing the hair. There's all kinds of people doing the hair. So that was the first thing that made him different. And his playing was different. First, he was a lefty, and his
right.
guitar was upside down.
Yeah,
So that made him totally different. And then the way he played, he didn't really sing the song. He talked the songs. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
Purple Haze in my brain. You know,
yeah.
he
But
didn't
it's
sing the songs. He kind of sang them and kind of talked them. And he played them and he played funky. All the other guitar players were playing really white, I'd say. He
right.
played real soulful, you know,
Yeah,
and which the other guitar players didn't, and they learned from that, I would imagine. You know, I think that's altogether, and he dressed his dress, everything. It was a whole package.
yeah, yeah. Much like it's all, I guess, sort of like an Elvis, to where
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
stunning. It was a
Yeah,
stunning visual as well.
yeah, like the Beatles.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
had the
crazy.
dress, they had the songs, they had the hair, they had the singing. You know,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
all the package. I mean, certain people have the package. I don't know anybody else now that has the package like that. That
yeah,
changed. You know, maybe Taylor Swift, but as far as I'm concerned, she sounds like a lot of other ones.
yeah, 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 yeah.
But she's the biggest. But I don't know, Tina Turner maybe had the whole thing.
Right. She
Had the
definitely
dress, she had the voice, she had the image, you
did. Yeah,
know.
yeah. Uh,
Certain don't have that.
and it's
I
still
always
lives
had
on.
a mustache.
Yeah, there you go. That is
Um,
yours for
you
sure.
can never shave that off.
You wouldn't be you wouldn't be Carmine Appice without the
I did
mustache.
shave it
I
off
mean,
one time I had to have a surgery on my nose for one time. And I shaved it off and I said, I can't wait to grow it back. I look like Vinny.
I love it. uh, we talk about all these things and the book and everything else, and you've done so much, you've achieved so much. Is there anything in your life that you've always wanted to do and you haven't done yet?
I always wanted a drum single, a hit drum single, which is not going to happen today.
Like an instrumental, you mean?
Yeah, like Gene
Yeah.
Krupa had, he had those like Topsy Part Two, like Let There Be Drums, Sandy Nelson,
Right,
like that.
right, right.
But
Yeah,
there's no radio anymore to support it. There's a whole different way things make it. I don't even know how that is, but that would probably the only thing. I tried to do it. I always said I wanted to be the Gene Krupa of rock, which I ended up being to a point.
I was gonna say, yeah,
I did clinics. I had full clinics with a road crew, and I do disappearing drum solos and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, yeah.
And
It's
but I never had that drum single. I tried it on my instrumental album called Drums, Drums, Drums. and I
Hmm.
did it with the same producer that did Sandy Nelson, but it was on Pasha Records. They never really pushed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But pretty much that's about it. I mean, what else?
I, I know that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm saying. I'm reading the book, and it's like there isn't, you've lived a great life. You've had a bunch of fun.
Yeah.
You've been screwed over. There's all of the things that life has to offer. You've done,
Yeah.
and it's just. And it's great. That's why, you come on, you're here in a beautiful home and you're happy and,
And my beautiful wife is
and your
over.
beautiful wife.
Great. Yeah.
Hello.
She's great. She's the, you know,
It's
22 years we're working on now.
man,
And
that is
we really great together, support each other.
it's
When I'm home, she does her stuff and I do my stuff, and we hardly ever go, well, I didn't want you to do that. Like a lot of wives will, I don't want
yeah,
you to do that. Stay home.
yeah,
But so I do with her too. I got Pilates today and I got dance lessons and I do this.
awesome.
Okay, so she does her thing, I do mine. And
Yeah.
the only thing is when we cook dinner, she said, well, 7 o'clock, just be there when we're home. You
It's great, man.
She texts me, says, get in there. But
I love it.
we ever argue, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And it's great to see you happy. It's great to see you healthy. And it's great to see you putting out new music, man. It
As
is.
Buddy did, my thing is I'm going to play till I can't play anymore.
It's great, man. And
Yeah,
you got some years on you. You got
yeah,
you got more to come. I can see it, man. It's
yeah.
great.
Well, you never know, but hope so. You
Yeah.
know.
Carmine, I appreciate you, man. This has been a blast.
Yeah.
It's been an honor.
Well,
Uh,
great, thank you. It's a little longer than we expected, but
yeah,
it
yeah.
was fun.
I,
Okay, cheers, mate.
all right.
Cheers. Bye
Thank you,
bye.
Carmine. Take care.
Bye.
Bye bye.